now that I've found that rust hole in the work wagon, I kind of want to cut into this car just so I can see how it's all constructed from factory, to try and be able to patch the hole that's way up in here. Same exact hole that the work wagon has, full of dirt. Full of dirt. Still solid, very solid on this car. The rest of the car's junk. So I'm going to cut it into pieces. Really, the only rust on this car was this little hole in the corner, the quarter panel right there, and they bonded it. It's behind this plate. In here, see all this dirt? Right in here, all this dirt collects. And the other side, where this skin is behind this skin is just gone. There's none of it left. You can probably see my fingers in there. It's interesting. It's a lot harder to cut on wheels that small. So quick rundown. This is the outermost layer. You can see down at the end. I cut it top and side, bent it down, cut it off here, it extended this way. There's this very structural layer next in, right here. And then there's another one behind it. And then this is actually the back side of the carpet. The carpet, see if I can get it to focus. You can see these clips. This is one of the interior pins. I think it's for the shield that goes over the fuel lines. And then I'm not sure what bolts in here, but it's definitely an interior piece. So that's the metal between the cab and outside. And then this is a structural, and this is a structural. And then you have your outer skin, which is also structural. The pinch weld for all these layers is quite something. That is actually quite strong. I've never liked jacking off of them because usually they're rusty up in the top layers, so it pulls up in. But this one is actually completely solid still. Go figure. So now I'm going to cut off a bit of the back part of the skin to make it flush with the floorboard. See how it looks then. Alright, that's about as far as I'll probably go with this car, trying to learn the structure. But I came straight off the floorboard, cut it flush. This is, again, the innermost panel before the cab starts. In fact, that's carpet right there through that hole. And the distance Hold on. The distance from this panel out to where the threshold really needs to be, flush with the door, that's got to be 4.5, maybe 5 inches. So perhaps instead of a 2x4 like I was thinking, a 2x6 would be better, come out a little far. If it went straight across, it wouldn't quite hit the top of this cavity, but you could weld it into this panel, I suppose, somehow. Not sure how you'd reach it if it was resting against this though, but needless to say, it will be a little more work to get a box tube in here than I was thinking. Mostly just because you got to preserve this threshold, because the door trim, the rubber molding up in there, seals just above that. So if this piece of metal wasn't here, then your rubber would almost be floating. But this gives me a good idea once I start looking at the rusty one. Since this panel is still pretty much good on my work wagon, as long as I get it connected to the floorboard out here, I should be good. I mean, it's just got to get a sticker, last a year. And I did find that these little plastic plugs right here, I can't pop it out with just my finger, but it does come right into here. So if you pop these out and put the fluid film straw in here, it would end up saturating the whole back side of this panel down into the pinch weld. It would be pretty good. And then up here, where this plastic trim usually is, same thing with those holes. You put the straw there and it's going to go down in behind. You can see them sticking down right there and up in there. So it'd be hard to get, well, I guess if you take that out, you could poke it through the hole and get the other side of the pinch weld right down in here. So it shouldn't be too hard to fill these things with fluid film or grease, or use motor oil, anything to keep this solid, because these pinch welds, once they start to rust like this, they don't take much longer to get bad. I'm once again amazed at the condition of this on this car, because this is one of the very first Subarus I ever had to retire because it was so rusty on the back. But I guess I should have just gotten a new subframe and patched what little bit of rust there was, because this would have made a good car. Now it's all stripped. Of course, the transmission was pretty much toast. It was front wheel drive only, so the engine from this one is currently in the work wagon. So it served a good purpose, but it is too bad at how solid some of it was. I probably could have saved this car if I had known better at the time. I had exactly enough left in this old can to get this done. No waste. Alright, so I've got 2 of these panels made up now. I cut them out of the car, ground down the sharp edges, painted them with some primer where I had to scrape down to bare metal, like where the screw holes were actually showing some rust, so scraping down, got them painted. And my plan next is I'm going to rivet the top edge. Can't quite get it to stay, but I'm going to rivet this edge up in here, all along the top. And then once that's secure, I'll bend the panel down underneath and then rivet it up to the floorboard. Get it nice and tight. And then I'm going to pop those plugs in the threshold and fill it with fluid film and paint the whole thing with truck bed liner, and it might actually look halfway decent.